Are we live? Yeah, we are live, baby. Let me entertain you. I'm gonna be talking about Cardano, but first, let's have some background music. Let's have some background music. Yeah, this sounds good. So, I think we can begin. Hey everyone, and welcome to Rising Star Trading. In this little live stream, I just wanna look at Cardano. That's what I wanna do. Primarily, I will also look at other coins, at Bitcoin, Schmidtcoin, ETHcoin. But wow, Cardano, it's crazy good. Let me show you what I see. So this is the Cardano chart, daily, right? I don't know how you trade, but I try to focus primarily on big ass trend lines, and they seem to work pretty well, especially on Bitcoin. But on altcoins, they also work, if you go to higher time frames, very well. So basically, the strategy that I use is the following: you just connect the peaks, the highs, the lows. You have these big trend lines. For example, this one on Cardano went for 69 days. Oh no, 65 days. See, and look what happened after we broke it. So every time we break this kind of trend lines, we go very high. So at this point, if you would try to open a long position, then oh wait, I need. So if you would, so up right here on the breakout, if you would open a long position, then you would get 5.8%, and then Cardano would go down because Bitcoin also went down and retest this level. So it retested this level again. Before that it was resistance, and then we retested and bounced from it at the same time where Bitcoin bounced from it. And like I said, these trend lines, after we break them, something big is happening. You can observe it always, especially on the daily. But so let's look what else can we draw. So this was the very first sign of breaking out and going upwards. Let's look at another line. Okay, this line. We can also draw this line. Oh, I need some power. So, okay. So another level, you see, we broke it as well, and now we're going higher. And I believe there was another trend line. It goes both ways. Look, for example, right here, after we broke this level, we continued down. It's almost always working. And so anyways, it was the first level to break. We went up, retested. This was another one, and I believe there was something else. Where was it? Another kind of line. Let me try. No. Okay, let's just go with the next one. So the next one is obviously the neckline. So first we had this one, the huge one. We broke it, retested. Then this was the little one, important. We broke above it, we continue upwards. And now we are approaching a super important level, which is this neckline at 146 approximately. You can draw it from the wick right here, but usually it's okay to draw it at the closes of the neckline of the W, you know. So we are creating a big ass W on Cardano, and it's gonna be looking wait, and it's gonna be looking like this. This is just beautiful. Look, it's a double, and if we manage to break above it right now, somewhere around here, and close the daily, even slightly, like 140, 147, ideally above this week, which would be then 150. After this, whoa, going higher. Maybe not in a straight line because we already went up in a straight line very long time. Maybe something like this, then retest and then go up again. But it's very probable, if we break this neckline, that Cardano is gonna be doing some very nice things. Let's look at the possible target what we might be looking at. So the first target coincides perfectly with the one of the previous highs. It would be 193 something. And on the way up, of course, we need to monitor these levels, the previous highs. This would be one level. This would be one level, like from here to here. So we need to take out this level first. This. Of course, the ultimate level would be right here to take out. And after this, we have price discovery. So it's looking very good for Cardano. So right now, I'd suggest let's look at some other and some possible resistance line that are lying ahead. So for this, let's go with this trend line as well. This and this one. Yeah, it looks like a possible resistance line, because if you connect these, right, maybe it also can give us some oh, interestingly, we have a confluent resistance right here, which we just smashed through. What it means that go down for a bit, we should find support right here. If we go lower than this, then we should find support at least at, so because it was resistance back then. So all these lines acted as resistance, now they are potential support. So looking good, looking good. But this line, this level should be not super easy to break through, because we have this resistance line from going from back then, and we have also this line right here. We have the previous high right here, so we need to take it and take it down. So also this trend line looks important, and it actually it's confluent. You see, I connect these highs, and it's all pointing down to $1.88 to $2. So the biggest resistance, probably it's also a psychological level, is around this area. It's around $1.88 to $2, because we have a bit of resistance right here, and it's also our target from the W. So after reaching these levels, I expect a little retracing like this, maybe like this, and then go higher. But it's looking very bullish to me, especially if Bitcoin continues, I hope. And Bitcoin looks also very good. Okay, before I look at Bitcoin, let's also pull up some Fibonacci's. Let's see if you maybe have some thoughts, questions. No. Alright, so let's pull up some Fibonacci's. So this was the highest point. No, different. What was our lowest point before that? We can try to go with this, but it's all, I don't know. Okay, let's try to go with this one. No, I think it's not the right one. Probably we should take it as our lowest points. We probably should take something below. Let's see. Where did... Okay, this is probably our lowest. One of the important lowest. Not sure which level we should choose. But if we take this one as our lowest point, then yeah, we pretty much perfectly bounced off the 33.6 level. I'm pretty sure if we take the next ones like these or this or this, it will coincide as well. Let's try this one. Yeah, if we try to go from here, we bounce perfectly. So if we say this is our previous lowest point, then we bounce perfectly from the 38.2. Yeah. Let's see how higher the price could go based on trend-based Fibonacci. So this is our lowest point, this is our highest point, and this was our little retracement. So let's see where it could take us. So I think it's a little bit too optimistic to use this point. I think you know, if we use this as the lowest point, then we should go with this high and this retracement like this. This is more realistic. Let me activate the other stars as well. Alright, so if we take this as our lowest point, this is the swing high, this is the retracement, then we perfectly hit the 1.6 to 1.8. So with the highest high, then we retraced to 127 and probably go higher. So based on this Fibonacci trend-based retracement, our next point, our next level would be $5.86. If you go with this trend-based retracement, and it's easily possible. It's easy. As soon as we break this level, the previous high, we are basically in price discovery. What you expect? We can shoot up very easily. Okay, let's try something different. Let's use other Fibonacci levels. Let's see. Or can no, it's probably not possible because this was our latest retracement. Okay, let's switch back to this again. This being the retracement. So if we take this as the lowest point, this is the highest, and then the retracement, then the next point would be something like 3.24 Fibonacci level. I mean 33.6, which would be $3.2 as our next level. Okay, interesting. Let me remove it again. Can we draw some trend lines right here? Are we forming some kind of structure here? Let's see. Oh yeah, I think we do. Look, it was, wow, very cool. Look, on what I see on Cardano is, I totally forgot it. Look, it was actually, we had some major cup forming right here. And usually if we have like year-long cups like this forming, after we break above it, we shoot up. And you saw it right here. And it's very often with coins. It's not a proper cup and handle. If we would have something like this right here happening, some handle of the cup right here, then we might take the height of the cup and then just put it up right here as our target. But we overshot it already. We went above it. Okay. And we are forming something similar right here. We could also say that after going up again, then that we have some type of cup forming right here, and after we break these levels to 246, that we might shoot up. So all in all, it looks very bullish if Bitcoin continues to go up, because the bearish case would be that we go down again from here. If we get rejection from this neckline, then we might go down for a bit. Yes, we have this support line, we have this support line, and ultimately we would have some support in this area right here as well. Yes, we would get, it's our soft cushion, you know. Obviously this is super strong support, so should we try to retest some levels? If Bitcoin tries to make a major retest, Bitcoin does some retracement before going up, then we also might see something like this. But what makes me really bullish on Cardano right now is that we broke these trend lines. These two. Let me make it thick. So this trend line, we broke it, retested it, going up. Then we broke this trend line, going up. And now if we can manage to break through this level, this neckline, that'll be good. That'd be awesome. Because, like I said already, this would be our target then. The target would be approximately $2, 188 to $2. I love it. Okay. And right now we are 144. Wow, this is awesome. So beautiful. Let me get my Fibonacci back. So I just wanna see again how much we retraced. Okay, anyways, let's see if you have some questions. No, you don't have any questions and no suggestions. Let's see. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Maybe on the same chart right here. So we have a clean chart, hopefully, on the daily. Yeah, let's take a look at that. And here again, my trendline strategy, I was kind of back testing it, and it works very, very well. Look, the trendline strategy seems to work always, actually. It's look, if we have these trend lines being violated, for example, let me redraw them all. You don't even need these patterns like falling wedge, rising wedge. It doesn't really matter. What really matters is the trend lines being broken. Look, from here to here. Oh, it's too dark black. Let me change it to blue. Like this. Look, back in February we had a downtrend. Then we broke this trend line right here. Boom, we went up, right? But then we broke a trend line right here. Boom, we went down, right? Then we went up, and it was very profitable. Look, if you on the 4 hour, it was 6% move. So okay, then we continued higher and we created higher lows, and we had this new big line. Let me make it blue as well and make it 3. So it was huge trend line, right? And as soon as it broke right here, below it, boom, we went down. And also before that we had this trend line right here. After we broke it right here, if you would open a trade right here, or maybe here at this point, if you open a short trade at this point, it would not disappoint you. You would have yourself some 6% on the downside. Then we found support on the previous trend line, bounce of it, and it went up. But after we broke it, definitely after breaking our trend line, it went down, boom, and again and again. Then we create new trend line like this. Look, just from here to here, you see. Okay, I just connect the highs. We break above it, we go up. So you would have to have some patience, of course, because if you open a trade right here, first it would go down, then it would go up again, give you 4%. You might probably better off closing it as soon as you are in the money. But at some point it broke some important levels, right? If you go from here, maybe like this, yeah, you see, we also broke down. You might have to. It was possible to short this as well because it was predictable. We have 3 touch points, quite possible. Of course, not such strong level like, for example, this volatile trend lines. They work always better if you have a time span of many days, like in this case 24 days trend line. You see, from 25th March, first touch point, second 7 April, and the ultimate 18 April going down. So as soon as you see this breaking, You don't have to wait until here, the 4-hour close, to open a short. You might have just waited for the 1-hour close at this point. Let's see where it would be. So right here, you don't have to wait for the 4-hour close. You might have just waited until here, you see, to short it, and then then look, boom, 12% short and going even lower. So these trend lines, I tell you, I absolutely love them. And then again, after we went down, look, what I showed you just is this one, you see, on Bitcoin. Then we went up and broke a new trend line. You can just go on and on and on. Look, because right here you would also have a, okay, right here it's maybe a little bit different, not so super easy on the 4-hour. Yeah, but even if you go with the 4-hour after you see this close above, yeah, you probably be better off to open long shorts, 5% long positions, 5%. And then again, we had this trend line on the 4-hour. You can call it rising wedge, it doesn't matter. Rising wedge, ascending triangle. What matters is these trend lines, especially if they span about like big periods of time, like 20 days. Look how strong the moves are after we break it. Like if you would see this trend line back then on the 12th of May, you don't need any indicators, nothing. You don't need nothing. All you need is love. All you need is love and my trend lines. Okay, it's not my trend lines, it's everyone's trend lines. We just look how beautiful. We have a huge trend line, one touch point, almost, then the next touch point, almost, and the next touch point, and then ultimately after breaking it, after close 4-hour candle below this trend line. Look at this baby. This is just incredible. It would be, wait, after we break this, then and I was stupid enough not to short it because I didn't see it. 44% short. Can you imagine that? 44% fucking short. It's so beautiful. Look, and all you need is those trend lines on 4-hour are very safe actually. Wow, it's just, and it goes on and on. Believe it or not, it doesn't matter where we are. So far, I didn't see anything that would behave otherwise on Bitcoin. Look, we had this, that we went down, we tried to go up, we created this trend line. Let me make it black, baby. No, let me make it violet. Look, and we broke above it. You open a trade right here, and you would have yourself some 7%, 5 to 7%. Isn't it nice? Alright, then on the way down, we see some new trend lines being created. Like from here to here. It's a weak trend line. You know, this one, they are too close together. They still work, but you will need to have patience because it will retest and go down again. But sure enough, it retested and then it went down again. But at this point, you can also say it's a double bottom, double top, something like this, or triple. It's almost, no, it's almost like Head and Shoulders. But doesn't matter what you call it. It's these trend lines. My music needs to go on. The music needs to go on, baby. Happy swimming. So I'm amazed how well these trend lines work. And then you might say we went sideways on Bitcoin for a long time, but it's not really sideways. Look, you have non-stop opportunities of trading. Actually, it's not sideways. Okay, if you try to swing trade only, yeah, it's just going sideways. No, it's not. It's not boring. It's not going sideways. Forget this bullshit. Look at this. It's nothing like sideways, because you have very beautiful trading opportunities. Like from here, a bullish opportunity. We have one touch point, another touch point, and another. Then we break above it. Can you trade it? Of course. Like right, open a trade right here, a long one. You have 5%. Okay, then we create next trend line. Like from here to here, maybe something like this. After, look, a couple of touch points, right here, almost, and right here, and right here, and then break. Open a trade right here. What happens? Would be 13%. It's not sideways, baby. It's a lot of trading opportunities, or these trend lines. Look, this one, after this broke, and these volatile trend lines seem to be the strongest. If it's not flat like this, but instead very volatile like this, then you see how big the moves are. Let's see, in this case it was 24%, 25%, without any indicators. You don't need to look at this. You don't need to look at market cipher, market liberator to know that we're going down. Like at this point, right here, after we broke here, if we now look at the indicators, I'm sure we will find something. Look, let's try and see. The RSI, this black one, going below 50 and continuing going lower. Okay, do we need this information? We see it already. Okay, you might say we can spot some divergences on the RSI. Okay, let's see. Can we spot some divergences? Bearish divergences on the RSI? Okay, not yet here. Maybe the stochastic. Okay, maybe not really, but you might say on the market liberator or market cipher, you should see something. Yeah, we see the momentum is going down heavily. The MACD is going down heavily. At this point, also we see the VWAP crossing the zero line, which is always indicative of a big move. Yes, we see it. We see it. We see the money flow being very thin and going slowly down. But do we need this information if we have this break of their trend line? No, we already see it. Is it something new? Not really. But the indicators, they are probably still good for confluence. So if you see some confirmation on indicators, it's probably good. But for me, I'm just too stupid to use the indicators. I think other people, some like CryptoFace and all, like Jason Kasper, I think they are using it very well. The market cipher, market liberator indicators, but for me it's a little bit too confusing. For me, it's a little bit easier just to look for the trend lines, the break, you go down. It's basically all you need. And the recent happenings, look what happened. It's all the same shit. Nothing changed. Look, this super strong trend line right here we had from end of June until the almost end of July. It's 1 month long trend line. We broke it above it, and it was a very volatile one. It was not just flat, it was quite volatile. Look, very volatile actually. And then we broke above it. And look what happened afterwards. Boom, baby! Look, these trend lines, I'm telling you. So maybe I am overseeing something, but as of now, right now, it looks like it's just hard to believe, but it's crazy, like 30% after breaking this trend line. I'm still trying to understand what it's all about, what's happening. And also on the way up, after we created this uptrend, we can still go on doing it to short something, like right here. This was an obvious trend line. I saw it. I didn't. I didn't short it. I didn't use it because I'm stupid. Because no, I'm not stupid. It's just because I was observing this strategy in real life. I really wanted to see that it works, and look, it worked. And before that, you might see some fake outs. And by the way, I'm on the logarithmic chart. If you go to regular, it's a little bit different, but it's just a little bit different. Like this. On the regular, you would have to wait to here. And on the 4-hour, if you open a short trade right here, you'd be looking at about 6%. Not bad. But before that, it's important not to confuse these trend lines with fake outs. For example, if you try to draw a trend line like this, thinking like, look, we have here a low and here a low and here, and we go down. Yes, it works definitely. Of course, if we go to 1 hour, for example, it's more obvious that this is some kind of trend line. This one, okay, let me make it blue. This trend line broke, but of course this trend line is a little bit different. It's on the 1 hour, and if it breaks, you might have needed some patience. Actually, I opened a short trade right here, but I closed it. Or I was closed out because I set my stop loss way too low, somewhere right here. I should have set the stop loss right here, above the previous high, but I didn't. Anyways, it would also give you some nice move. Like from here, if you would have enough patience and proper stop loss, it would be 3.6%. Is it bad? No, it's awesome. But of course, these are small trend lines. It's like only 1 hour trend line, which is going for 3 days. So it's not. Don't expect huge moves from this. Expect huge moves if we break this bigger trend lines. For example, right here, it was broken. If you would open a trade right here, it would give you 6%. Something, you know. On the 4 hour, it would be a little bit difficult because you would have a worse entry. You would probably, let's see, on the 4 hour it would close right here. You would get 5.8%. Also not bad. Also not bad. So, man, this strategy with the trend lines, I'm absolutely loving it. Let's see what's happening right now with the trend lines on Bitcoin. So right now we have a rather obvious rising wedge. Okay, but on 2 hour chart it's more obvious, I think. Let's try to do some, yeah, something like this. So yes, it's a rising wedge, and if we break this level, go below this, then we are very likely to retest the previous lows. This one, you see, 40,200 something, 38,000. We are quite likely, if we break this to the downside, we will retest these levels, most probably. Also because right now everything is bullish, and the smart traders, they would probably hunt the wicks, hunt the stop losses of people, because right now everyone is kind of bullish. They open long positions, for example. Right here they opened something. Let me change the color. So people open long positions right here, and where do they put the stop losses? Well, probably some people put the stop losses below this wick, some people put the stop losses below this wick, and maybe some even below this wick. And what the smart traders do, they drive the price down so they can get the stop losses hit. So this 37 or 39,000 stop losses probably gonna be hunted. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see this trend line broken, price being driven down up to this level to hunt these stop losses right here at this level. Maybe even these at 37,000 something. It's also possible that we get all these stop losses hit and then continue higher. It's totally possible. And it would be a little weak. On the closes of RSI on the 2 hour, we probably would like go down, have a little wick and go up, but the close would be probably higher than the previous. You know, the closes of the candle will be probably 38,000 something, higher than the previous one, like this, but with a sharp wick like this to take out the stop losses at this point. So I wouldn't be surprised that we do it. And let's look at market liberator or market cipher. They are basically the same. Yeah, we have a little divergence on the MACD. You see this, how you call it, the columns, the histogram. If you look at the green histogram, we're creating a bearish divergence on the histogram. Okay, let me remove everything else. Let me switch off the blue momentum waves and the VWAP as well. Okay, let me keep the VWAP, because you see the divergence right here very nicely. We have on 2 hour the prices are going higher, but the MACD histogram going lower, and the VWAP right here, you see the VWAP also, the highs of the VWAP is going lower as well. So a little retracement to these levels is very possible, in my opinion. And if we break this level, I'm probably gonna short it with a nice stop loss right somewhere around here. Opening a trade right now is a little bit of gamble, because we didn't break any support lines yet. If we break this support line, then it's quite sure that we can short it a little bit for a super short trade. But right now we might just go bounce it. We basically don't know at which point we're gonna break this trend line. Maybe we go down, up, and maybe right here we will break it. Who knows? We might also continue upwards a little bit, of course, if we break this trend, the upper, the resistance. If we break this level, obviously, of course, it's always, then we go up. We can expect to go up for quite a bit. Break this one. So let's see. Let's let's look at the 4-hour chart, and maybe there's something more. Maybe we can look at this. Yeah, I forgot about this huge W that we created. If I let me remove everything. Oh. Let me even go to the daily. So on the daily we have this obvious level to break through. Connect this highs. Maybe we could even wait. Let me try to something like this. Yeah, this trend line makes sense as well. And we broke above it. No, it's also very bullish, because after, yeah, we broke this neckline, and also we broke, I believe, some other necklines. Yeah, this, of course, this was the first neckline to break, this one. This trend line was broken, and we had some W-like structure going down, and then ultimately broke above it. And if you treat it as a W, which is a very ugly W, I agree, but the target would be $54,000. Yeah. Super bullish, but yeah, I think this coincides very much with what I said previously. Like, if you go to 2-hour, you see this rising, see this kind of rising wedge happening, so it would coincide a little bit with this. Structure, because if we break it, we might retest the neckline before we go up. We might even short it. It's already starting happening, probably. So it might give us 4% little retest short before we go up. But like I also said, there might be some stop loss hunting going on very well. So, like I said, a lot of people, if they go long right here, they see, oh, we have a W broken the neckline, very nice, let's go long. Then they go long right here, and where they put their stop losses, they put their stop losses right here, before the previous lows, right here and right here. This is where they will put their stop losses, and the smart traders, they try to drive the price down and get this money, get their stop losses hit right here, and then go up. So right now I would not open. Yeah, you could open a long trade, but having a stop loss a little bit lower than this. Not exactly at this position, you know. If you put the stop loss exactly at the wick, chances are that we will have a little bit lower wick down to hunt your stop loss. So I would probably set it lower, but it would be not a good risk ratio, risk to reward, 11%. Who does that? And so first I would probably wait for proper retest like this, or even lower like this, or even lower like something like this. And then if you open your long right here and then set the stop loss at this area, then it's a 5% risk. It will be slightly better. But let's see, let's go to 15 minutes, see if we... Yeah, probably we just have to wait for this trend line to break. That's what I'm watching right now. If this breaks, probably we can expect a little downwards movement of 3 to 4%. Actually, I'm thinking maybe I should open the short now already. But I'm afraid we're gonna do something like this, then go up and then go down. Yeah. Okay, let me just observe as of now. Let me see if you have some questions, suggestions. Okay, what else can we look at? What else can we look at? Ethereum. Whoa. Ethereum almost 3,000, baby. Wow. Wow. Let's go to 4 hour. Wow. Same story with Ethereum. Same story. We have trend lines that get broken. Look on the 4 hour chart. Let's draw some trend lines. So we had this huge trend line. We broke above it. We had some upwards movement a little bit. Oh shit. We went above it, like here after breaking this trend line. You would still get some 5%, or if you waited longer than 11% upwards before going down. It's all the same story. We break these trend lines, we go up. This was the next trend line to break, one of the next ones. We broke it right here, we went up. Or you can extend it from here to here, but you would get a worse entry. Right here, we still went up. But right now, of course, we are creating another bearish trend line that if we break, if we do something like this, then like this, and break it, we might retrace, of course, back to these levels before we go up. But so far, we're going up. Let's see if we have some resistance that we can draw. Yeah, probably this would be some point of resistance, this trend line. And of course, this 2,900 to 3,000 is a psychological level. And sure enough, it's it's a strong level of resistance. I need a box right here, I think. From here to here. So why this box? Because we have highs right here, the swing highs, and 1 week right here, one little wick. So if we break above it, then we will see some further upwards movement. I'm a little bit sad on one hand that I didn't see these. It's not that I didn't see it, it's like, it's just I was super tired and exhausted, so I didn't trade at all. I just was observing. I saw this trend line, of course. I also saw these trend lines being broken, or take any like this one as well. I saw it as well. After these trend lines break, baby, oh my goodness. And this was a super important trend line, because we had this massive support right here at 1700, and so we bounced off the support and we broke this trend line, which was 13 days, 2 weeks. I should not be stupid and I should just open a long trade and write it up. But there are two things that prevented me from doing this. Actually, three. First, I wanted to observe it in real time. So I saw this type of trend lines all over the place on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, and I saw it being broken. But I wanted to observe it, like, let's see, does it really go higher, after breaking it? And also I wanted to see, what about these resistance trend lines? We have this resistance. Are we gonna smash through it or go down, and what will happen? So I was observing a little bit. Second, I was not sure how Ethereum behaves in reaction to what Bitcoin is doing. So I wanted to see if Bitcoin, is it really that simple that you can just go with these trend lines, or are we gonna see some fake outs if Bitcoin goes down? And Ethereum proved to be quite resistant, so it just continued higher at some points, even though Bitcoin went down a little bit. So I was observing, and I wanted to see the interplay between Ethereum and Bitcoin. And the third reason why I didn't open any trades is that I was just a little bit exhausted, also physically and emotionally, and I did some minimalism in my apartment. I threw things out, I cleaned stuff, so I wanted to prepare myself for the next big moves and for the next time of trading. So I was just taking some time off. Yeah, but now what I see is quite clearly, actually, you don't even need Bitcoin really if you work with these trend lines, because in a way these trend lines also show what Bitcoin is doing. So we don't really need Bitcoin we don't really need to look at what Bitcoin is doing, because if we see these trend lines, they are strong enough. If they break, we continue in the direction of breakout. Yeah, so this is my conclusion, that actually we don't need to pay as much attention to Bitcoin as I thought. I think the trend lines are all you need to trade it. Let's take a look at Cardano again a little bit. Yeah, and it's probably the same with Cardano. If we see those trend lines broken, it's quite sure that we are going up. For example, this trend line. Let me have some background music again. Let's go with Mystic Morning. I love it. Okay. So my previous thought and idea and hypothesis was if we see some trend lines being broken on Cardano, it's not safe yet because Bitcoin might do the opposite and then Cardano would crash, right? So the idea was to pay attention to what Bitcoin is doing. But right now what I'm discovering is that basically you don't need to look at Bitcoin at all, because these trend lines represent what Bitcoin is doing as well. So if we have a trend line like this and we have some downwards movement, we can be almost 100% sure that Bitcoin went down in this area as well, roundabout. And if we break right here, then we can almost assume that Bitcoin broke these levels again. So, and the same with this W. If we break this W, we can almost guarantee that Bitcoin is breaking some levels as well. So we can just look at this charts and just go with this, and it should work. Let's backtest it a little bit on Cardano without looking at Bitcoin. So for example, this trend line, let me make it black. Okay, let's look at this. Let's remove the W. Okay, on 4 hour we would have several trend lines. This one would be a little trend line. It's very volatile, so you can trade it down. It worked. Okay. The next one would be this one. Also quite volatile, but you know, it's difficult to trade it on the 4 hour because right here it's a very small wick down, you know, the close. But on the after the second close, you know, what I'm saying is it's not that as soon as the price goes below it, we open a short trade. We need a close, you know, and the first close below this trend line was right here. And it was okay. It would be a little bit risky, but if you would short it, you still would get your 3%. It's not bad before going up. So you also, this is a small trend line. It's just oh, not so small. 7 days, not so small. But anyways, you're probably better off to take at least half of your money right here and put your stop loss into profit right here. So the initial stop loss would be right here, above the previous high. But you're probably better off if you open the trade right here. And if you see it go down, you're probably better off putting your stop loss into profit. Yeah, so okay, this one would work as well, even this little one. So from here, this is the first one, it would work very nice. This one would work as well, but you need to be precise. If I switch to arithmetic, the regular scale, you wouldn't have this entry. It would only be on the logarithmic, or maybe on 1 hour. Let's switch to 1 hour. So this the same chart on the 1 hour. Yeah, on 1 hour you probably would see another trend line, something like this breaking, and you might open a short right here. It would be 4%. Yeah, it kind of works as well, but let's look at the other bigger trend lines. So, right, but the most interesting trend lines are the bigger ones, like this one, for example, on Cardano. I think this is quite obvious. This is on the regular chart. If you short it right here, yeah, you would make insane money, 25% short. You could also use this trend line right here, connect this once, you see right here, and if you short it right here with a stop loss right here, maybe, yeah, also the same money, 20% or something. So it works even if we don't look at Bitcoin actually with Cardano. This is very cool actually. It's very, very cool. If you see any trend line where it does not work, let me know, please. Alright, let's backtest it a little bit longer. So okay, let's just move this trend line. If we draw this trend line right here, is it a valid trend line? Sure. We have this touch point, this touch point, this touch point, and then we break. So yeah, and it worked without even looking at Bitcoin. Wow, super interesting. I thought you absolutely have to watch out for Bitcoin, but it looks like you don't really have to, baby. You don't really have to. Oh, that's a nice discovery I just did today. And you can continue. At this point in time, for example, you would be looking at, let's see if there's something. This would be an obvious trend line. Oh, and this is also, yeah, from the trend line from before, a kind of neckline. If we break this, then we go higher. If we treat this as a skewed double bottom, then our target, let's play around a bit, then our target, very optimistic target, would be 180. So yeah, I really like what I just discovered. I thought you absolutely need to look what Bitcoin is doing, but it almost looks to me that you don't even need Bitcoin to open these trades. You just go with these trend lines. Wow. I'm very happy that I've discovered it. This is also a little trend line. We have touch point here, a little touch point here. Now we broke above it. Now what would be next on the 4-hour Cardano chart? This is surely a trend line that I was talking about before, because it would give us this volatility. So if we go down, retest it, we either break it and then go down to 125, or we bounce from here and go higher. We'll just have to see. Actually, it doesn't matter what Bitcoin doing, because these charts, they show what Bitcoin is doing. Woo! So, alright, I think I'm done for today. We could also look at BNB. It's pumping super nicely, and it's all the same story. It's all the same, baby. We have trend lines, we break them, we go higher. Like on Cardano, what would be the obvious trend line that took us to these levels right now? I think it's super obvious. It's actually too easy. Maybe I missed some information. Maybe I overlooked something. Maybe I'm too optimistic. I don't know, but It looks just too easy. Look. Okay, we have this trend line right here. It's obvious on the 4 hour. On the BNB. Touch point, almost touch point, and we break it. Right here. After breaking it, we go up. You can even place a long right here, retest and go up. How much percent would it be? Like 9%, baby. 9%. Just with this trend line. You don't need Bitcoin. Fuck Bitcoin. Bitcoin. I make Bitcoin my bitchcoin. I became a rich boy by buying some shitcoin, flip coin. Now I'm rich, I'm a big boy with a big toy, what the bitches enjoy. Okay, let's not rap. But I love rapping. Maybe? So. This BNB trend line worked really well. And it's all the same. Look, if we just continue drawing these trend lines. Okay, this might be a little fake out. This might be a little fake out right here. But it's on 4 hour. If you see this line breaking, a very smart thing to do is to go to 1 hour and just to look if you can get a nice entry. It's a big trend line. If you go to 1 hour, you might open a short right here. It would be 3%. You could also draw additional trend lines on 1 hour. You could see something like this. Yeah, but it would be a fake out. It's not good actually. It would be very weak actually, because you have just 1-2 touch points. Now you would have to wait a very long time until it gives you something. This trend line. Okay, let's compare these two trend lines. So this trend line looks like this. Then we break it. However, I don't know, it would be a fake out. It would just be a fake out. Yeah, this is like sometimes these trend lines don't work perfectly. But what about this one? After this breaks, yeah, you would have to wait quite a long time for it to play out. So probably this trend line is stronger because of the following. Look, if we connect this lows on 4 hour, you remember it on it was actually a 4 hour trend line. Where is it? So on the 4 hour, if you connect these, it's a strong trend line. But the 1 hour trend line, if you see right here, it's very weak. On 4 hour, we don't have the confirmation of this trend line, and this is why it's very weak. This one. Let me do it like this and dotted. No, dotted you cannot see. Dashed maybe. No, it's also ugly. Let's just keep it. Let me make it. What is a weak color? Okay, let me just go with blue and thick. So again, if you lost the thought that I'm thinking right now, the question I'm asking myself right now, look, if you have these trend lines, if you believe in this trend line strategy, which basically says we have trend lines, as soon as we break them, then we are ready to go, boom. Then you might say, okay, David, I like your strategy, the trend line, all good, this and that, but look, we have some disagreements, because we have this trend line right here and we have this trend line right here on the 1 hour. It also broke, but it faked out. Why did it fake out? So it would be stupid to open. At the end we would lose money if we open the trade right here based on this 1 hour trend line, right? So is it not working, this trend line strategy, or what's up? Why did we fake out at this point, at this very point? Actually, let me change the trend line again. Let me remove this. So at this point we had this trend line, we went down, but we faked out. Why, David? Does this trend line strategy not work or what? No, I think something else. If we compare this trend line and this trend line again, we need okay, let me put it like this. Why is this trend line just predestined to be a fake out, and why is it much weaker than this one? On 1 hour we don't see the difference, because we have, like, on 1 hour the black trend line, not this, let me remove this, the black trend line, this one, has touch points right here, right here, right here, right here, and then ultimately right here. And why is it much stronger than this trend line, which has touch point right here, touch point right here, right here, and right here? Basically, if you look at this from the 1 hour perspective, no difference at all. You might be saying, no, it doesn't work, David. But look, if we switch to 4 hour, we see that this trend line right here is actually super weak. Let's switch to 4 hour. So on the 4 hour, you immediately recognize that this little 1 hour trend line is bullshit, is very weak, because we have just a little wick right here. Okay, on the other hand, you could say, like, but look, if we connect, if we draw the trend, this 1 hour trend line just from here, then we might see some breaking down right here. Yeah, but if you go with this trend line, you would readjust it a little bit. If you draw it from the first touch point on the 1 hour chart right here, it's a little bit different. It's not precise. So it would be definitely a fake out. But I suspect if you draw it from this one, then it would be looking like this. So you have more room. You can open the trade earlier. Let's switch to 1 hour and see how it looks like on the 1 hour. Alright, so on the 1 hour, it's a regular, by the way, it's a regular scale, not logarithmic. And let me do it super exact, like this exactly, and let me extend the right line. Okay, so it's a little bit different story if you draw the 1 hour trend line from this week, which would coincide. You know, the thing is, if you try to draw it from here, it doesn't confirm on the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, this looks like a wick. This looks like a wick on the 4 hour. So it's no confirmation. But on the 4 hour right here, we have also closes. Also right here on the 4 hour, we have some closes. So these touch points are stronger. So if we connect them, then we have a earlier entry. Right here we would have the entry, and at least 1% we could have from this. but it's still not a lot. It still looks like a fake out. So I agree. Sometimes it's just yeah, it's not 100%. I have to agree, but if you wait long enough, it would be breaking down, you know. But yeah. Also, of course, you have the choice to use the logarithmic chart only. And on the logarithmic, it's a little bit different, I guess. Let's see. Okay, in this case, not much different. Also, let me try to draw this trend line from here. Yeah, you see, if you draw it from here on the logarithmic scale, actually if you use the logarithmic scale, you would have a earlier entry on 1 hour, because you would, the hourly candle would close here, and if you open the trade, you would still have your 2.68%. I'm also asking myself if I should use logarithmic chart or regular chart, because I tend to use the logarithmic chart mostly, because I think it's the most reliable actually. Okay, let's go back to 4 hour. Okay, but let's say if you opened the trade right here, and it would be a fake out. Right here, if you would see this trend line, you would open it right here. Actually, you know what? Based on logarithmic scale, I would not open it right here, because I need to see a close way below it to confirm it before open a trade. And after we see this candle close right here, you might say, look, now we're definitely close below it. But there's one more thing to pay attention to. Like, if you analyze this candle right here, this one, it's a very bullish candle actually, because it has a huge wick to the downside. So even though it closes below this trend line, chances are we just gonna go sideways and retest all this stuff. How do I know it? Well, it's super. I just told you, because of this wick. So a very important criteria, I think, is that we close below the. So look, if you go with this trend line strategy, like you have the 4 hour trend line like this right here, yes, on the logarithmic scale, or on the regular, let's say on the logarithmic scale, and you are waiting for this trend line to be broken, so you can open a short, right? What is to pay attention to? What is super important? I believe it's super important how we close below it, how we break it. So if we see a break below this trend line on the 4 hour chart, for example, with some weak candles like this, because these are not bearish candles, they have long wicks right here. It's very weak actually. We need to close clean like this, you know. You see this candle? It has no wick on the downside. It's very clean. And what's the difference? So if we have this wick, what does it mean? It means that right here we have massive buying pressure, because as soon as price hit these levels, we have a lot of buyers stepping in and buying all this shit up. So if we close a trend line like this below this trend line, if we break this trend line and close below it, but with a weak ass candle, with a wick, then we're probably gonna expect something like this happening. Up until this candle, you might say, okay, but look at this candle. This candle looks a little bit stronger. The wick is a little bit, but it doesn't matter, because the candles before that were very weak, and it's all indecisiveness. So even though we have this candle, we cannot expect it to be like perfectly bearish. Different story with this candle. Actually, let's backtest all the fakes out. I'm pretty sure all these fake outs, if you see some, they have some weak candles closing below the trend line. I think this is a very important key. Okay, let's analyze this trend line right here. Okay, this 4-hour candle. Well, first of all, on the logarithmic scale, we need to redraw it like this. But let's compare. Let's go to regular chart like this. So on the regular chart, yeah, you could go back down on 1 hour and don't open the entry right here. It would be a fake out. Also, you see the little wick right here. But I like the logarithmic scale better, so let's go with logarithmic, because on the logarithmic scale you would have to redraw this trend line to here. It would be more precise. So on the logarithmic scale, you would be, yeah, what would you do? So it would still be a fake out first, and if you opened a short trade right here, you would have to wait 3 days for it to play out. You would be sitting in the negatives, in the negative money for 3 days. But it still would work actually. The funny thing is, because where would your stop loss be if you opened this short trade right here? Your stop loss is above here, above the previous swing high. Of course, it would be a huge risk. It would be 13% risk. I don't know who. It's what you would do. You would have to do. And if you did it like this and wait 3 days, then you would have some very nice short, which of 12%. So yes, it still would work actually. And what else is important to say right here? So okay, analyzing this trend line right here, first it would be a fake out, but you would have to wait long enough for it to do what you thought it would do. And it would do. Also, you could go on 1 hour and have a better entry. So you open the short earlier. And I think it's a good idea. If you have a 4-hour trend line, I think it's good enough if the 1 hour closes below it. And then, because then you have a better entry, you get at least a little bit. In this case, at least 3.8. Story with this one, you know, on the 4-hour chart, this blue line, it looked like this. Then we broke below it. Actually, no. In this case, I would not open it at all because oh, we have this weeks. But could you even see this? Because at this point you would be looking at 1 hour to get a better entry on the blue trend line. Let's see. So you would be right here. You would be asking for some music. Okay. So on the 4 hour you would have this trend line. On the 1 hour it would be the same trend line. Then you would see the price going lower, and based on 1 hour chart, if you would risk it, you would open a trade right here, and it would be 1.5%. Yeah, it'd still be a fake out if you didn't have the time to wait. So I'm just asking myself, are there any indications for this to be a fake out? Maybe we can look at RSI or Market Liberator. Let's see. So at this point, going down, maybe we have some bullish divergence that might prevent us. What about the RSI? No, not really. So maybe one of the indications for a fake out would be this big momentum curving up. Okay. Okay, I don't see any perfect answers right now how we could foresee this fake out. Yes, we still would have our 1.4%, but basically it would be a fake out. And probably we're just gonna have to accept that these trend lines do work, but sometimes they fake out. Like 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 10 times it just fakes out. And it's okay because you have your risk management. And mind you, we are looking at Binance, and what I used to think that they are heavily dependent on what Bitcoin is doing, so I thought you cannot use the trendline strategy on them without looking at Bitcoin. The case, because it looks pretty much that you can use these trend lines just fine on the altcoins with no problem whatsoever. Let me see if you have some questions, suggestions. If you want me to take a look at some coins, let me know. Alright, so let's take a look at BNB. Let's take a look at other trend lines on BNB. So what can we draw right now on the 4 hour? By the way, I'm analyzing BNB right now from the perspective of leverage trading, not from buying and holding. So if you want to buy and hold BNB, we can also look at that. Let me remove these, make this thinner. Actually, let me change the title of my stream to BNB. Cardano, BNB, BNB, BTC. That's what we're looking at. Yeah, everything is bullish. Also, VeChain. If we look at VeChain, it's also gonna be bullish. All right. So, so on BNB, we also see this trend line, and we also know that we have some trend lines, necklines right here. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is a very important point, actually. The exact point where we are right now, we have this huge wick back. We had this huge wick back then. You see? So the level that we are trying to break right now is very important. And many levels that are quite important. This level seems to be very important because we have this wick. Here a little wick, here a couple of touch points, here a touch point, here a touch point, many touch points. Level looks very important. The next important level would be this, and then probably this one, this and this. So these are the important levels that I see right now. Let me make them thinner, like this. So anyways, this level seems to be very important. This is what we're trying to break right now. And you can also make a case of a W if you go from here. So because you can draw it like this, it's like an ugly W, double bottom, and we broke above it, retested this, going back up. And actually, what was the why did we stop here? It's interesting. Do we have some important levels here? Yeah, we have a couple of wicks right here. Okay. Anyways, can we call it a double bottom that we had on BNB? Yeah, I think so. Looks quite legit. And the target would be, the super optimistic target would be all the way back to $450. But of course, not in a straight line. But first we need to take out all these levels. So we broke slightly above this trend line right here, bounced back, then managed to break above it. Then now we need to take out all these levels. This level will probably bounce like this, like this. So we need to break through all these levels, of course, and we can do it in this kind of manner, you know, this zigzag motion, maybe even something like this. It's all possible. We just need to wait and see. We'll probably stay above this trend line because it looks strong to me in this support line. Probably what's gonna happen if we continue go above it and we do something like this. Should we break it, we're probably gonna retest this level and then go up again, which will create a new higher low and a new trend line, support line. So if we retest these levels at some point, then we will have a new trend line. So like this, go something like this. I think that's basically all I gotta say. Let's look maybe a little bit at Bitcoin again. Bitcoin is doing. Yeah, on Bitcoin, I'm just waiting for